All right, hello and welcome to Court of the Rings here on twitch.tv/LotraStream, youtube.com/Lord of the Rings/live, and facebook.com/Lotro. I'm Lotro's community manager, Kurt Oven. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and I have got a group of folks with me in Discord. Why? Because we are going to be running the Thrang instance here for the Summer Festival, which continues through July 16th. Hope you've been enjoying it so far. It seems like we've been getting some pretty positive comments from the community about the Summer Festival. All right, so because I've got multiple screens up, if you are in Discord and you think you will be speaking during the thing here today, would you be so kind as to introduce yourself?
I refuse. Hi, I'm Druidsfire. I normally run with Jerry on this show, and I brought friends if they would like to introduce themselves.
Sure. This is Corey Olson here, here an hour before my normal Grifflet stream. Delighted to join you guys today.
Hi, this is Gravity. I usually stream on Monday nights at 9 p.m., so I'm excited to be here as well.
Oh, nice, nice. Who else we got?
Well, I'm Zanel.
Okay. Hi, Zanel. Nice to see you.
I'm Yesterday, 91. Your chance to Yesi.
Awesome. Very cool to see you.
And we also have a sneaky Sam Burke lurking with us, and he will be helping us out today. So
cool.
I got 4 members of the Department of Halbert Security. So hopefully Azure Bell will survive this encounter.
Is it Hobbit or Holbit?
It's Hobbit because for some reason you can't use Hobbit anymore in a kin name. Can you please fix that, Jerry? Fix it with your magic wand.
Nice. Okay, well, I've tried the magic wand. Is it fixed? Let me know.
No idea.
Okay. I'm guessing the answer is no. So anyway, folks, just before we get started here in the Thrang instance, let me answer a few of your questions, kind of give you a little bit of a sense of what you can expect in the coming weeks here. So we are working on a brief hotfix that'll most likely go in next week. Potentially, ideally, we want to try to time it to our Tuesday downtime. It just makes sense to do that, to try to use Tuesdays for this kind of thing. If something comes up here, we'll let you know if that changes, but that's the intention, is to try to do a brief hotfix next week. And let me check my email quick to figure out what's in it. I know there's a couple of things I probably can't talk about because they might be exploits, so let me go and tell you what I can. The other thing I would say is that we are working on an update 22.4. This will not be next week. It should be later this month. We'll kind of have more information on that specifically. Oh, okay, so one of the big things we're fixing actually is in this boss from the Vault Thrang instance. The chest will respawn, so players who were not in the instance at the time of the chest being created will be able to get the loot. That's an issue really with late joiners and things like that. And otherwise, the only real thing we have set for next week, other than one thing I really can't talk about because it's an exploit, is we're doing some work on the French client. The completed quest checkbox in the French client is not working correctly. I think we have a few localization fixes in there as well. All right, so what do we do? Druidsfire, you're the one who's making this thing happen. So you tell me what the heck what are we doing? Why are we doing this?
We are doing this because I have heard from the community that you need to do group content on your live stream. So I figured we'd drag you through a relatively short and easy one that could hopefully be completed with success in an hour's time. Yeah, especially since I am scaling it to level 50. And yeah, we're all going to die because you're a healer and you're level 52. This will be amazing.
We're all going to die because I'm a healer is what I heard there. So that's
and you haven't practiced your healing. So make sure you are in resonance stance, and that you have your trait set to blue line.
Oh, trait set to blue line.
Yes.
No.
And you need to put the game on the screen because you're still kind of big head mode.
Oh, yeah, good point. I'm in Redline. I mean, I'm going to have to completely retreat here if we want to do this. So.
Yeah! This is going to be great!
Yeah. Fine, let me re-specialize. All right.
You could have used your other tab.
I don't care.
I do
Yes, I know.
have my healing pet and a couple of off-healing skills to help out.
And Sam is on his
Anyway.
level 75 minstrel skull. I'm going to mangle that name, and he will also be able to off-heal.
Cool.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that barrel is pretty cool.
It is, isn't it?
You can get one of your very own in Slack, Corey.
Nice.
That is pretty awesome.
And so after this show, it'll be Professor Corey's show, and him, me, and Jesse D are going to go run the Isengard 3-man instances. So that's going to be fun.
All right, let's get started here so that we can try to get this done in time.
Okie dokie, launching now.
Speaking of localization, will we get a German version of the 67 Beacon? Yes, Telerian. I apologize. Unfortunately, due to the July 4th holiday, along with apparently some kind of holiday in Europe this week as well, our localization folks were not able to get the Beacon localized in time. That's supposed to be coming in today and get published today, both French and German. But there was some kind of issue because we sent it out, and then the person who sends it to our European localizers was off for the 4th, and then they were off for some kind of European thing. And that's how it all goes. Oh god, I need to start healing already? Man, you guys are so doomed. You guys are doomed. Where are you?
And I also need to be res, thank you.
Me too.
Me too.
I knew this was going to be so much fun.
This looks like maybe this weekend.
22.4 next month, did I understand well? Oh my, no. Yes, on the oh my. But it should, 22.4 should be this month. Later this month. Have I brushed up on my healing? No.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Yes, I did brush my teeth this morning. Wait a second, what were you talking about? Yeah.
Oh, I remember. This is the arena with the Egyptian dudes pouring lava. Okay.
Them stuns.
For some reason, you're too far away for me to heal you, Ezra Bill.
I'm way over here.
Yeah. So am I just supposed to, like, follow along behind you?
Yeah.
You keep running off while I'm buffing people up, and then I'm dead, so...
And I am now locked out until we wipe again.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Maybe I should be tanking with a fish.
So, could I kind of review what we're supposed to be doing? So, there's a guy, and we're supposed to kill him. I kind of get that. Is there anything more I should be thinking about?
Well, basically, it's like kill the ads while I try to get Thrang away from the rest of y'all, and
so are you self-healing then, Azrael? Because I
I'm
cannot both
trying
heal the party and heal you because you're on the other side of the map.
So I'm gonna try to stay close enough to stay in range, basically.
Okay.
We need to get the ads going so y'all can kill the ads. So it'll be fun.
Yes,
Well,
kill
hang
that
on.
first.
Hang on, we gotta.
Plus
we're
the
gonna-
fact that I might
we
need
need
to
to buff here before we do things.
Don't do my mistake and go for trying it once, because insta wipe.
Yeah.
It was not a good idea.
I know, it's so much fun. Gumps Gang suggests we try to do the picnic instead.
Alright, well, we'll give this another shot. It's fine. So.
And there's a request from Southern Belle that you might want to zoom out a little bit so you can see the entire party, Cord.
Yep. Alright. Yeah, there we go. No problem. I'm just, like I said, I haven't even, you guys took off before I was even really ready. Not like I'm ever ready, but I was really not ready here at this point, so.
Ethelred the Unready?
Yep.
The Remembrance has a quest.
It does. That's the deed that you can do.
Yeah.
Alright, let's see if I mess this up again. Who's eating?
I am.
I'm gonna use some of my Daleman's crams that I get like 1,000,000 of from.
I love crayons.
This is why I tend to hold off on instances until I'm massively over-leveled, JJ48 Car says over on Twitch. I have heard that. This is a lot of damage, that's for sure. Oof. I'm stunned. Stunned.
Kill the Defiler!
I should be
Ow.
using...
Handjaw's got the way of it.
Alright.
I'm gonna pop out and repair and then come back.
I don't think this is gonna work. Stay away from the fumaroles, they will stun and damage you. Only the tank should be dragging Thrang near them to debuff him. You guys need tactics talk before starting out again. I agree.
Yes, we do.
So why are we not doing that? Let us do that. Druid's Fire, you are leading, so you give us tactics.
Hang on here. Let me get back in.
We have a Moobot death count? When did that happen? How does that happen?
Yeah, that would have been Southern Belle.
Interrupt Thrang and Defiler. Nuke Defiler. Once Defiler is down, tank drags Thrang through fumaroles to make him vulnerable. Alright. Why can we not dye the Peacock's bonnet yet? Hopefully that gets fixed sometime. Yeah, Ponton, that is on our list of things to fix. I don't know when the timing on that's going to be, but it is a bug we are aware of. Look, sure, this is amazing, someone on YouTube says. You guys can't be so spread out like you are. Yeah, for sure. That was what I was thinking, too. Cord, can you please give us an update on the champion skill lags? It's killing us me during group play. Champion skill lags. It's a bug that we will hopefully be working on for update 22.4. Before I commit to that, though, I need to see the change list come in, so. Let me real quick see if I can find a quick bullet point on 22.4. Yeah, it just really says bug fixes, so.
Okay, I was back. I'm all... Apparently I never repaired my gear from the last time I played this character, like months ago.
Okay.
Balviel, I see what you did there. Oh, Noobish Gamer, don't base this on what we're doing. We're doing this for the lulz. It is for the humor of the thing.
Yep.
Alrighty, so we're gonna go with the right side. So if I have to bring Thrang through the fumaroles, I will yell at him over here on the right. And then the Defiler gets dead first because he's a healer. So target, focus on him and nuke him to the ground. And then pick up the other ads as you can and just nuke them, you know, get them down to the ground. And then I will try to drag Thrang through the lava in fumaroles and not die again this time.
And if I could make one suggestion, if you could pull the ads away from the lava. They were backing up against the lava, so I couldn't get positional damage on them.
Yeah, Burglar knows what he's doing.
Total pro here. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nice.
Defiler, focus the Defiler first.
All right, focus on the Defiler first. That we can do. And try to stay together a little bit better so I can hopefully heal us up a little bit better.
Okay, and I'll try to get Thrang over, you know, facing away from the group with my back to the wall. Yeah. All right, here we go. YOLO.
Oh, one shot. Should I just retreat? Yeah, I guess I
I won't let you back
Be
in.
locked out.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. I got one shot by something, and then nobody hit me.
Yeah. Don't know what I'm doing yet.
Yeah, the Defiler killed me, and then Thrang polished me off. It was nice.
Okay.
Hey, Cool Cash.
No.
CP of Landreval is saying some nice things about the Shire banners and the picnic instance, and he hoped to get those as a housing item for our hobbits. I would say there is a good chance that that will end up as a housing item at some point.
One thing, the Lore Master does have a res. So if one goes if the healer goes down, I can res them without them having to retreat.
All right.
Somebody
If I
still in
can find
combat?
you, at least.
Nope, there's all 6 of us are here.
It says they do not have permission to use that to open the gate.
Does it have like a mercy rule or something?
I don't know.
You have died too much. Come on. It's just saying, come on, guys. Let's be real here. That's what it's saying. I did notice it actually come up and come back down, like, right away, so it might be that it's a little bit bugged
At
out.
least I think I have a res.
Yep. I mean, it's not like we're far along or anything. We could probably just reset it, so.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to. Alright, let's all exit the instance and then we'll try to go back in. I don't know, is there a level 10 version of this somewhere?
Nice. Remind me, how do I exit out of
Right-click
this?
your character portrait.
Oh yeah,
and
right-click
leave
character
instance.
portrait, right. Leave instance, there we go. This seems hard for a seasonal festival event. Well, I think it's really more about me. I'm not trying to, you know... I'm just saying that I'm not the greatest player in the world. I admit this. A quick question before we restart. Why can't the jewels from Thrang at 115 be ashed? I don't know. Sorry. Don't have an answer for that one. Sorry, Corey.
I went out, went back in, and the funerals are still up.
I was going to say, I think this is meant to be hard, because the other one's actually fairly easy.
Yes,
the
right.
picnic
right.
is fairly
it's absolutely true. This was, you know, we had heard from, you know, kind of raiders and that, too, that perhaps we were a lot of our festival events tend to be on the fluffy side, shall we say. And they wanted something that was maybe a little bit more kind of challenging, combat-oriented, you know, a little bit tougher. And so that was really the purpose of this one as well.
And I think we're just missing Zin.
Tempest, what happened to the store the other day as Cord talked about it? We talked about it in general, but there was a brief window where there was a bug in the store that got introduced that was overly discounting everything. And so we had to real quick shut down the store so that we could fix the issue and then put it back up. It was like bugged for, what, 15, 20 minutes or so? And as soon as we saw it, we shut the store down, fixed the bug, and then put it back up. So that's what happened. But we had to figure out why the numbers were wrong on things. It's not that we don't like giving you guys sales. It's just that, you know, there are business impacts to these things sometimes. If everything gets deeply discounted, shall we say. Oh, let's do this, huh? We're gonna win!
Hello.
I know it.
Stay away from the funerals.
Okay.
Kill the defiler.
Where'd I put my res? I just had a res and now I've removed... See, I flipped around my hotbar and all of a sudden I can't find anything anymore. This is what happens. Ah. Alright, this is pointless. We should probably just run the summer one, huh?
I'm game for that if you'd like it. It's up to you, Jerry. It's your show.
Yeah, let's do that. We've now proven that we can't succeed in this particular instance. So, but that's fine. People got to see what they too can expect.
Don't be like us.
Yes. Guess it's time for the weekly PvMP question, which is that we're working on class balance right now. It's something that we have been spending a bunch of time trying to make right, and when that happens, after that is in a decent place, we're going to focus our attention on PvMP and creeps. Did Court make an announcement about Update 22.4? Only to the extent that we're intending to release it later this month, and it's going to be predominantly bug fixes. This is not how to do the Thrang instance lol. What do you mean? What are you saying? Yeah? Raiders would prefer actual class balance than a skilled fight that lasts 2 minutes. It's not like those two things are mutually exclusive. We have the ability to do both. We are working on class balance. I think you've seen that in recent updates, and we will be continuing to work on that. Specifically about Warden Light dot scaling bug, that is something that we are working to fix. Minstrels will be on that list of things as well. Okay.
I'm trying to get this switch over to let me watch us for the perfect picnic.
True. I certainly understand, Monstrous in Twitch chat, that as we work on the free people's class balance, that poses a particular challenge to the creeps because, you know, it's...
Oh, there we go.
But it's the same people doing the work. We have limited resources, and we are working to get... we will be working on creeps as well, but we need to get... Generally, it's better to scale creeps after you've got your freeps in a decent place so that you can ideally put everyone on a similar path. Remember, every change we make to classes in the game affects the free players in PvMP, and then you specifically need to do work on the creep players in order to achieve some sense of balance there. So,
A lovely day, isn't it?
hang on, hopefully. We will be working on it.
Did we get a voiceover at the beginning of this instance?
I don't believe so, no.
Yeah, I don't remember one.
So what's the premise? We've got Will Whitfoot going on a picnic? We're packing for a picnic currently?
Yeah, we're going on a picnic with Flower Dumpling, and we gotta make sure his lovely horse doesn't
Do that?
get overheated.
Frustration.
Yep.
Kill all the things up here.
So, since we have a lore master here with us, it would be worth probably getting the following question answered. What do we know about meteorologically about Middle Earth, particularly this section? Did they have a jet stream that we know of? Did they have general temperatures? Did they actually get into what it might be, presumably Celsius, on the average temperature in say, the Shire and things like that? We know summer.
The only thing that Tolkien talked about with regard to that is basically parallels with, you know, our contemporary Earth climate. So like the Shire is essentially the same climate as England, basically. And when you get down into Gondor, you're at the level of about Italy, essentially.
Okay.
That's really the... He didn't talk in much more detail about the specific climatic patterns.
Sure. And of course, you know, for something like a summer festival, of course, it's going to be summery. So, you know, there may be some kind of just general kind of fudging of the numbers as necessary here. But in this particular case, we don't really have to because it's pretty well straightforward.
So I just got a note that I thwarted a chatty hobbit. What did I thwart him from doing, and why have we taken that upon ourselves? I'm trying to follow why we're being so officious.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why we worry about the hobbits either, unless it's just simply a distraction. Is that what it is?
Yep.
They're trying to distract us. Meanwhile, we're trying to basically guide Penny to where Penny needs to go.
Yep.
And there's also not enough food for everybody if we let all the hobbits come.
When we get to slap hobbits, it'll be amazing.
Want the boss up the hill?
Sure, let's do the boss up the hill. Penny will hang out here until we come back.
Okay. Will 22.4 be tested on Bulwer? Has there been a change where class changes are being testing longer on Palantir before release to Bulwer? 22.4 is largely bug fixes, so I don't know if there will be a bull roar on it. I'm not sure, frankly, that there would be a lot of productive use for that, but potentially that would be really a question that QA is going to have to take a look at when they sort of figure out what all is in there and whether there's value in testing it on bull roar. But my understanding is it's largely iteration kind of bug fix stuff, so I don't know that there's a lot really to preview per se. Now, as to the next question, are we testing things longer on Palantir? I think it really depends as to what exactly is being tested. You know, the goal is to release things when they are ready, right? So there may be some class work that's being iterated on in several steps through Palantir, whereas other things are fairly, you know, in place and will be previewed less on Palantir. So I think that, as a general rule, the goal is simply to test on Palantir as much as is needed before bringing it to Bullroar and then live. But I don't know that I could say, yes, everything is being tested twice as long on Palantir, or no, we are not testing anything ever as long as it needs, you know, it really is a case-by-case basis on that sort of thing.
Everybody go grab some carrots if you have them nearby.
Any plans for new class skills? If any of that were to happen, it would happen as part of our class balance work that we're doing. And clearly we're going to be focusing on the class balance work rather than introducing a lot of new stuff that might disrupt said balance work in the short term here.
Could use a heal. Alright, nice. Thank you.
All right.
Everybody ready?
Yep.
All right, this will be fun. Really something costly up ahead.
There's another boss in this farm. Want me to drag him out?
Yes, please. Somebody follow Penny, make sure she's not getting near the clover, please.
Oh, she's on.
So I guess we get to see whether or not an invasion of dragons actually would be beneficial to the Shire?
I know!
I think probably the only real benefit would be the opportunity for new recipes. The hobbits would probably enjoy having some new recipes to test out. New flavors, as it were. Provided, of course, they survived the attack.
And learn how to cook vegetarian properly, right, Jerry?
Well, in my world, maybe. But I would say in general, probably hobbits would not worry so much about vegetarianism, were I to just simply guess. Not that they're inherently cruel or anything, but I think their stomach might prevail over any other considerations.
I'm trying to think of any evidence for any vegetarianism of any kind in Tolkien's world, and I can't think of any, really.
To some extent, I think it predates, or the Tolkien's writing predates the birth, not maybe the birth of vegetarianism, but the popularity of vegetarianism.
What about Beor?
Possibly. I'm trying to remember everything that is listed that they are given in Bjorn's house. I know it's mostly bread and honey.
It came up on somebody else's stream whether Bjornings were vegetarian, and so I had to actually go into The Hobbit and look just yesterday. And it specifically says he does not eat his animals, nor does he hunt and eat wild animals.
Really? I did not know
I seem
that.
to remember that. I always thought he was a vegetarian.
That's interesting.
But yeah, I don't think Tolkien would have used the concept of vegetarianism. It's too modern.
Yeah.
And even that kind of affiliation with animals is much rarer than people think. Like, elves are not vegetarians. I mean, that's a very common misconception that people assume, well, obviously elves wouldn't kill and eat animals. Well, no, they do all the time. Like, they hunt. That's what the Elven King and, you know, his people were out doing in the woods, you know, feasting and hunting. They do a lot of hunting, actually.
I always loved the theme here, the Tom Bombadil theme, because we once, I once strong-armed Cordovan into playing this on his flute.
Yep. Wasn't my greatest performance on stream here, but...
You're out of practice.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we have to do here, we have bugs, kill the bugs, and slap the hobbits.
And there's the emote right by the thing there, which I always forget. Not to get too political, because I don't think we should get political, but just since we're talking about sort of meat eating and all that in the world, it would be worth noting that even in Tolkien's time, the consumption of meat was somewhat less. I mean, they certainly didn't care about vegetarianism and that, but the quantity of meat that was consumed tended to be lower than what you see really starting with like the 1960s and beyond, 50s and 60s and beyond. I mean, meat was still the centerpiece of the dinner table, but people didn't... There was a lot more vegetables and just other things that were eaten.
We did it! Something within our wheelhouse.
So, speaking of food, though, I would tempted to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Corey, probably the most prevalent food in the trilogy would be lembas, right? There's probably more references to lembas than anything else, I would think.
It certainly gets a lot of the focused attention. I mean, the primary references to specific non-lembas foods are like the things that people eat at particular meals, which doesn't happen as often. Like basically the food described at the unexpected party in chapter 1 of The Hobbit is, I don't know, probably like 60% of the total food described in all of Tolkien's works.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
It's very memorable, but very rarely elsewhere do we get. And I think, you know, the description of the food that they're served in Bjorn's house as well is another place where we get, you know, specific references to like Gandalf eating, you know, like a whole loaf of bread with, you know, butter and clotted cream. But again, that kind of specific reference we rarely get. Like you take, for instance, we know that Faramir gives them food, right? Faramir gives them dried fruits and things like that, but we barely even learn what it is. You know, it's like it's normal food as contrasted with Lembas, right? But it's yeah, and we know that the orcs take it, but as far as what exactly comprised the food, we never get a real list of the food that Faramir gives them.
One has to assume, just kind of based on the way Tolkien sort of writes and sort of what the allegories are, that we're looking at a lot of highly preserved food. So it would be things like hardtack, probably salted meats, you know, for travel, things like that. One would assume, right?
Yeah, certainly. You do get the impression that, especially when Faramir gives them supplies there, that it's probably dried meat and dried fruit chiefly.
Yeah, yeah. Ponton Finberry says, of herbs and stewed rabbit. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the things that makes that chapter very remarkable is the description of the stewed rabbit. Again, like we're told that Sam has done most of the camp cooking, but apart from this, the coney stew, we never get any reference to what he in fact has cooked during their trip.
Yeah, yeah.
He kept them alive a long time, so he must have did it well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but he just really kind of leaves it to the imagination to fill in. But it is one of the really remarkable things. I mean, this very small number of descriptions of meals have loomed so large in the imagination of Tolkien readers, right? So you get the impression that, you know, Tolkien's books are like just full of food, and you know the hobbits are always talking about good eating. No, they just talk about it seldom but very memorably.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And then, you know, the movie reinforces that in some ways, maybe even the book does not. So in terms of popular culture, you know. Yeah.
It's actually, I mean, that scene, absurdly placed as it was, the scene on Weathertop when, you know, Merry and Pippin are cooking, you know, tomatoes and bacon and sausages in a pan, you know, that I really like that. I mean, it's absurd that they're doing this on the exposed face of Weathertop while they're hiding from Black Riders. Even Merry and Pippin aren't that stupid, but nevertheless, I really like that little glimpse of like hobbits frying things up in a pan, which seems to me just right.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So what do we know about, since we're talking about festivals here, and we've got you here, what would you say some of the largest festivals that are mentioned are? And presumably they had festivals that they would celebrate. We know about, say, like the birthday parties, certainly that sort of thing. But did they have seasonal festivals?
Well, the two main things that are emphasized, and of course this is emphasized in the calendar, is Yule and Lithe. So Midsummer and Yule. It's very noteworthy that those are literally part of the calendar, like those exist outside the months. So you have the day of Lithe and the day of Yule, which aren't in any month but are freestanding days on their own, and that's where they make up leap years and stuff, is adding an extra day of festival, which I think is a perfectly excellent way to make up a leap year.
Yeah, why not?
But so the interesting thing is that on the one hand, you don't get the impression that there are a lot of regular holidays, you know, like today happens to be the feast of something or other, you know, some like feast of remembrance or something like that, which interrupts their regular calendar. You don't get the impression that there are very many of those, but the ones that they do have are very specially set aside, so that it's not just like a special day, like Christmas is a special day in December, or any other holiday like that. It's not like that. Yule and Lithe are separate portions of the calendar themselves, so there's no question of it just being a kind of unusual but otherwise kind of normal day. It's a completely separate occasion. But apart from those two very clearly delineated celebrations, and then of course the reference to birthday parties, we don't really get much else. I mean, you think about it, most of our holidays, right, are either religious or historical in basis, and of course there are no religious holidays because there's no organized religion in the Shire. and they don't seem to do historical holidays. Like we don't really get a reference to, like, you know, and today we are commemorating, you know, like the end of the fell winter or something like that. It's not there aren't, or, you know, like, you know, Golfimble's head day or something like that. You know, it's not, you know, we don't. It's not like there aren't historical things.
It tends to be, it seems more marking a place, like this is where this happened as they're traveling through it or something like that. You know, so it's more,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. They would do. I mean, that's why I've always really liked the bull roarer statue up in Brockenborings, because that does seem to me like a kind of thing that they might do. You know, to say, hey, let's. You know, this is the field on which, you know, bull roarer took decapitated Golfimble, but they don't seem to have like, and so therefore, you know, on this date we shall celebrate Bull Roarer Day, and no one shall work. You know, that doesn't seem to be something that happens very often.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. You always have to wonder. I'm just going to speculate here. Not the bad guys, as it were. You know, they tended to work and toil and die at the whim of their master, shall we say. But if there was to be, let's say, an Uruk-hai holiday, what would it be? And what would people do? Perhaps one would assume maybe hunting for sport.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, the whole idea of holiday, right? And you never really thought this through exactly. But of course, although the concept of a holiday is that you're, you know, taking off work that day, the whole idea of having that concept implies that you're more or less committed to working the rest of the days, right? So that's the thing that I'm having the hardest time kind of trying to wrap my mind around, because to say like, and today shall be a special remembrance of this occasion or whatever, you know, and on today we shall do no work. Well, of course they're always going to do no work if they can do no work, right?
I'm going to imagine Saruman's not going to be like, you know what, take the day off. It's okay.
Yeah, right, exactly. But yeah, no, that's it is an interesting thing. So I'm thinking of categories, right? Like, would there be a historical event that they would or would there be some kind of warped orcish equivalent of like a harvest festival, you know, like perhaps. not for harvesting crops, but for like going out and like, you know, and this is the day when it's easy to go out and slaughter things, so we take this, you know, this occasion to go out and kill things in large numbers. You know, I don't really know. It's hard to imagine them having a really historical sensibility, right? To you know, recall, you know, this is the day when like Minas Ithil fell and Minas Morgul was established. It's hard for me to imagine orcs caring about that.
I think to some extent it would be celebrating after a battle, right? So you know, them tearing apart the village or tearing apart the armies or punishing their foes or what have you.
Right.
Be more their kind of
we won thing. And therefore we're going to loot now would be kind of the perspective, really.
Yep. But, you know, I know that this isn't at all true, but I bet an Uruk-hai would like a nice pie. They never get to try it. Can you imagine
pie made of men.
Can you imagine what a special occasion would be if they actually, for a change, got to celebrate with a pie or something like that?
Well, remember the trolls wanted to gather several hobbits and make a pie, so you know.
True, yeah.
Meat pies, they'd be fans of.
I'm thinking of those old, you know, those old medieval the songs, 2020 Blackbirds Baked into a Pie. And, you know, these stories about, you know, the wicked old crones cooking kids and whatnot. I'm kind of thinking the Uruk-hai would be down with this.
Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So is there any questions from the Discord chat here that maybe perhaps I can answer? Do you guys got something you want to ask me that perhaps now that you have an opportunity to see if I can answer it? If I can, I will.
I don't know. I think they're all scared of my tanking skills being that bad. I have switched over, by the way, to my alt for Corey show here in a minute.
Nice. Given how hobbits celebrate birthdays, you'd think there would be other celebrations as well. That's an interesting idea. It does seem to make some sense, right? They're so into, like, having fun.
It does. It's, you know, though in part, it seems to me to fit with the... Here's another thing that I think keeps holidays down. Where do we get our holidays from? You know, it's a federal holiday, right? Meaning the federal government has declared on this day, it is now a holiday. They don't have a federal government, right? They don't have any overarching government. So the idea that holidays in the Shire would be mostly individual people choosing to celebrate, whether it's their own birthday or whether it's some other occasion or something, there'd be lots of parties in the Shire, but few formal holidays because, again, that's just not kind of a way they think, right? Somebody decreeing, you know, everyone shall commemorate this thing on this day is just kind of not how the hobbits roll in general.
You also have to wonder if culturally, you know, they're often just kind of lounging about and enjoying life and things like that. So they don't need necessarily a holiday to do that sort of thing, you know? I guess if every day's a holiday for you, do you really need to take a day off to celebrate? Why not just celebrate all the time, you know?
Right, right.
What is this last thing I'm supposed to get? Oh, okay, it's just turning.
Yeah, Boromon was talking about a harvest celebration making a lot of sense. I'm sure they did celebrate the harvest. Again, it's just... it wasn't a thing like you know, and today we shall all, like, when people harvested, I'm sure they celebrated, but they would have celebrated, you know, like in families, in towns. Maybe there was like a Hobbiton harvest party. I could easily imagine such a thing. But that doesn't mean that, like, just because the folks in Hobbiton are having their harvest celebration on this one particular day doesn't mean that, like, the people out in Mickle Delving need to do that, right? That, again, that kind of lack of coordination and centralization is very characteristic of hobbits. So again, I'm sure they do harvest celebrations, but there is not an officially decreed, and this is harvest celebration day.
Yeah. Good point. Cool.
Each group or village or whatever would celebrate when they finished their harvesting.
Exactly.
When can we expect the next class balance update, Sampai 22? At the very least, it will be for update 23. We are doing some work on that. I know that, you know, our systems team has been distracted a little bit by some other pressing needs, but it's something that we are continuing to do long term here, so I would expect that we would see some class work in update 23. Didn't they celebrate the anniversary of that battle? What's his name took one?
Randaboss, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's remembered, but I don't recall any reference of anything like what we would call a holiday. Like, there's no equivalent, you know, to like Independence Day or even something like Memorial Day or Veterans Day or something like that. Again, it's not to say that it doesn't happen, but I don't recall any reference to anything like that.
True. Ethelod says Gondor gets New Year's Day off. Is that true?
Well, they do commemorate Gondorian the New Year. That's actually a really interesting thing, and which again strikes me as a way in which Gondor is very different, right? Gondor centralized; they've got a king, right? So Gondor, Aragorn decrees essentially, you know, this day will always be remembered. Like the day that Sauron fell does become a holiday. Like not only is it going to be a holiday, but he's going to change their calendars, right? From now on, this is going to be the beginning of the new year. And of course, in part there, Aragorn is very conscious of like, we are now moving into the Fourth Age. And so like, hey, let's reboot our calendars. But at the same time, again, that's very different. Gondor is very different in that way from Hobbit culture. there is a federal government in Gondor. So he can decree that kind of thing. How would you get hobbits to agree on like how to change the calendar? You know, I mean, it's kind of a miracle they got one in the first place.
That would be, yes, it would be quite controversial and probably quite a lengthy. They'd remember it for generations to come. Which family they disagree
That's what
with.
they would remember, exactly. Yeah, the bitter rivalries that have grown up in the arguments over that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's about 1 o'clock here, so I think I'm going to wrap things up. Really, it was lovely to have guests here on the show. It was really nice to see everyone here on Discord. Corey and Druid's Fire, Gravity, Jesse, Sam Burke, Sanel. Lovely to see everyone here. And Gravity, it looks like you did put out a link on chat, but just for a voice here, where can people catch your show?
Well, I am at Gravity42 on Twitch, and you can catch me on Lotra Stream at 9 p.m. on Mondays.
And Corey, you are going to be basically following this show here. And what else would you like to quick promote?
Oh, our Twitch channel is Signum U, SIGNUMU. That is the Twitch channel of Signum University. So you can see not only my Lotro streams, my other Lotro streams and stuff on there, but also some of the educational stuff that we do, like my Exploring the Lord of the Rings class, where I am doing the most glacial read through of the Lord of the Rings I think ever done.
Yes.
And we've just finished session 65, and we've only just left Bree.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah, and we also have our other programming there on our Signum channel, other free educational programming. So definitely twitch.tv/SignumU, I would recommend.
And Jesse or Zanel, do either of you two have a Twitch channel or YouTube channel or something like that you'd like to quick get the word out about?
No channel, but our kinship will be having our annual Hobbit run on July 28th.
Oh, awesome.
We're taking Sapiens to Isengard again.
And where can people find out more info about that?
I haven't posted it yet, but I'll have a notice up on Lotro Artists at least.
Awesome.
In the next few days.
Very cool. All right, well, thanks everyone for being here. Thank you very much for watching Court of the Rings. If you would give us a follow on Twitch, you'll be notified for when we go live with shows like this. Subscribe on YouTube to get these videos in your feed, and like us on Facebook, not just for our live stream videos like this, but also sales info and everything else that we post on Facebook. Hope you have a great weekend. Hope you enjoy the summer festival, and I will see you next Friday. Have a good night, everyone. Day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Stick around. We got Corey.